Today's top stories and your weather forecast in the first 8 minutes. Now on 8 News at 11.
Breaking news tonight. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton walk away big winners on Super Tuesday.
We get all of this finished. I'm going to go after one person. That's Hillary Clinton.
Trying to divide America between us and them is wrong, and we're not going to let it work.
Thanks for joining us on this Super Tuesday. I'm Juan Condi.
And I'm Carrie O'Brien. We're glad you're joining us for this 8 News special. Our team coverage of today's historic primary spans across the state, with former Governor Doug Wilder joining us live in the 8 News studio.
We begin in Northern Virginia with Parker Slaybaugh, who's at Republican Party headquarters in Alexandria. Parker?
Juan and Carrie, good evening. Yeah, we just left the war room for the Republican Party of Virginia. It was held in this building here behind me, really filled with about a dozen, 2 dozen Republican Party leaders throughout the night. They monitored the results coming in, and many people, this race was closer than what most suspected. Polls coming in today showed Trump with a big lead, but at last check, he holds a 3-point lead over Marco Rubio. Now, this contest has been called for Donald Trump, but much closer than many people here at this Republican Watch Party thought it would be. It was about 2.5 hours into the returns until he was officially declared the winner. But what the Republican Party of Virginia leaders here say they are most happy about is the turnout. A huge turnout on the Republican Party side. More than 1 million votes cast in the Republican primary alone, smashing all previous records. Now, one other person that was interesting that was here tonight was former Virginia governor and former Republican presidential candidate Jim Gilmore. He had a very interesting take on the race. He says no matter what happens, he does plan to support the Republican nominee, even if it's Donald Trump. Take a listen.
I was the first person at the national level to criticize Donald Trump for the way that he was speaking about certain groups. I was always a very inclusive governor, and I would have been an inclusive president. But I believe that splintering the non-Democratic Party people is not good for the United States.
Now, while Donald Trump has won other contests across the country, the contest here in Virginia, like we said, very close. Even though he is the front runner, even though he comes out in first, the delegate count will break down. 17 delegates will go to Donald Trump. Somewhere between 15 and 16 will go to Marco Rubio. So even though he is in the lead and will finish first, he only gets a really 1 or 2 delegate advantage over Marco Rubio. Continuing our team coverage now, I'm going to send things back down to Richmond, where my colleague Mark Tenya is standing by at the Democratic Party. Mark.
But I think he's one that people could come to terms with.
Thank you, Parker. It's empty right now, but earlier tonight, dozens of Democrats filled the restaurant here at On the Rocks in Shockoe Bottom, many of them excited to move on to the general election. It was an energetic crowd as Virginia Democrats held their watch party filled with dozens of supporters, the First Lady, and elected officials. Within a minute of the polls closing, Virginia's primary was called for Hillary Clinton, many applauding in the crowd.
I have a lot of friends who are also Bernie Sanders supporters, and of course, you know, I respect the senator, but I think that Hillary will make a better president.
With our governor and the rest of the Democratic Party behind her, it didn't surprise at all.
A lot of pressure on Governor Terry McAuliffe, a longtime friend and confidant of the Clintons, to not only win the state for her, but win it convincingly. Tonight, Democratic leaders, including the First Lady, already looking ahead to the general election, confident Clinton will be the nominee.
A great victory tonight. The work continues and the path is still in front of us, but I think it's been a great night and we're just happy to have Super Tuesday behind us and to be looking forward to the next part of this election.
Hoping a state that has voted Democratic in the past 2 presidential elections will continue its trend this year. Now, we did ask people here whether or not they were concerned about going against possibly Donald Trump in the general election. They say while they are concerned about the prospect of Trump becoming president, they believe they have a winning message and they believe that Clinton is battle-tested and will bring them a victory. Live in Richmond, Mark Tenya, 8 News.
Thanks, Mark. Problems were minor and turnout was heavy in the Commonwealth this Super Tuesday. In some localities, so many voters showed up, ballots were in short supply. 8 News reporter Matthew McClellan has that part of our coverage.
A last-minute rush creating some minor problems at the polls, including a ballot shortage in Arlington County and some longer lines at some precincts here in Henrico County. But the State Board of Elections assuring voters that every person who came to cast a ballot tonight is being counted.
Virginians flocking to the polls Tuesday with big pushes in the morning hours and at lunchtime. But the biggest turnout slowing things down during the evening rush hour.
A lot of people show up late in the day after work. And so we do on occasion have, this influx of folks at the end of the day.
Without an incumbent running for the White House, voters packing precincts to impact the race.
Issues that can happen with high turnout is going to be lines at the polls. That's a matter of having the right resources for the number of folks.
Stafford and Arlington dealing with ballot shortages, even having to photocopy them to make sure there's enough. Others like King George and Henrico facing heavier than expected turnouts.
We've got a couple precincts in Henrico that we got some reports of long lines. There was one that had an issue with I think it was a jam with the printer. They sent out a technician.
Even those in line after the polls closed, still casting their ballots.
Anybody who's in line at 7 can vote.
The State Board of Elections is following up on any reports from voters and working to correct the issues.
Now, this is one of the largest voter turnouts in any Virginia primary in history. Board members telling me it's also a great dry run for the November general election. Reporting in Henrico County, Matthew McClellan, 8 News.
Here's a brief breakdown of what happened tonight state by state. For the Republicans, Donald Trump takes Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, Massachusetts, and Tennessee. Senator Ted Cruz won his home state of Texas and Oklahoma. In Virginia, Hillary Clinton won about 65% of the votes. Clinton also captured Texas, Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. Senator Bernie Sanders is projected to win his home state of Vermont, Oklahoma, and we just learned a few moments ago, Colorado. So, what do the results mean for Virginia and November's presidential election? For that, we turn to our political analysts, former Virginia Governor Doug Wilder and University of Richmond professor Dr. Ernest McGowan. Pleasure to have you both with us tonight.
Good to be with you, Warren.
Thank you. Governor Wilder, we've talked all night about disaffected voters. How will the Republican establishment here in Virginia react to the outsider phenomenon that is Donald Trump?
Well, they have to accept it to the extent, in my judgment, that he will be the nominee. It's going to be very difficult, Warren, to catch him. He's got everything going for him, the record turnouts that you've seen. And so I think the establishment, as people call them, has to come to grips to understand that in the absence of something catastrophic happening, he's going to be the nominee. The next question then becomes, will that turnout that you saw in the primary be matched in the general election that comes out in November? Hillary Clinton likewise has to be concerned with that, likewise being able to convert and to get the Sanders people to come to her side if she's going to be the nominee. And I predict she will be the nominee.
All right. Professor McGowan, Marco Rubio won Minnesota, placed second here in Virginia, but did no better. Can he still brand himself the man who can beat Donald Trump?
Well, his narrative was always that once the field winnowed, and maybe he could get it to a two-person race, that people in the establishment and other moderates would come to his side. But what we've seen is, following Jeb Bush and the endorsement by Governor Chris Christie, that those people seem to be moving towards Donald Trump. And so Rubio's path to even being a viable candidate seems to be getting harder and harder.
Governor Wilder, let's go back to you. Are fears of a Donald Trump nomination exaggerated as far as policy and what he might do if he's the nominee?
Well, I think they're exaggerated to the extent of people not knowing. I think once they find out what it is that he has in mind, it might not be. And quite frankly, we don't know what the, as I called it, the meat on the skeleton and the bones is. What are the policies? How will they be enforced? Generalities are one thing, specifics are another. One-word definition of politics is money, and how will he govern and handle the money? And I think a lot of people need to know that.
All right, we're very, very happy to have you, Governor Wilder, with us on this Super Tuesday, and to have you as well, Professor McGowan for the University of Richmond. Thanks very much to you both.
Thank you. Very good to be with you.
Sad news from Hanover. 76-year-old Malcolm Gardner Jr., a poll volunteer, was killed in a crash while driving to a precinct this morning. Authorities say his car crashed crossed over 2 lanes, struck an embankment, and rolled several times, throwing Gardner from the car. The registrar's office had this to say tonight. Malcolm Gardner was a gentle and brilliant man who was volunteering his time for his community. Hanover election officials are a family, and this is a devastating loss. He will be greatly missed. Coming up, young voters hitting the polls in numbers today, their impact on today's results, and a look at the results across the country and what it will mean for the race for president.
You couldn't have a better day for voting than today, but some showers are moving into Central Virginia at this hour.
And taking warm weather away with it. What can we expect tomorrow, John?
Yeah, it's a return to some cooler temperatures over us. The showers marching in through the western part of the state right now. You see some heavier returns down by Roanoke. It's got 4 like little radars, and you can see east of Roanoke as we head over into Pittsylvania County and over towards Franklin County. We've got some areas a little bit of gold. That rain's moving in here a little bit later on. It's going to chase away with warm temperatures. Still mild right now, 61 degrees for us, 57 degrees in Charlottesville. Whatever the temperatures at midnight will be the official high for the day tomorrow. And then during the day tomorrow, a little breezy for you. The rain will be out of here early, but temperatures in the afternoon will stay steady in the middle 50s.
Thanks, JB. Developing right now an Amber Alert for 4 children abducted in North Carolina. High Point police are searching for Dominique LaShawn Lecco and her kids, who are aged 10, 8, 5, and 3. She could be in a tan 2001 Dodge Intrepid like this one with North Carolina tags DDX 2134. If you see this vehicle or Lecco, call 911 immediately. In Chesterfield County tonight, a school employee is behind bars accused of assaulting a student. Police say 48-year-old Kevin Brown, a teacher's aide at Manchester Middle, used unauthorized restraint techniques on a child. He's scheduled to appear in juvenile court next month. Chesterfield schools tell 8 News, quote, "This is a very serious charge. The employee has been removed from the school and will not return pending the disposition of the charges and the administrative process."
3 people shot within minutes of each other in Richmond this afternoon. Just after 4, police got a call for random gunfire in the 3300 block of First Avenue. They found 2 men shot in Ann Hardy Park with minor injuries. Then a second call came in and police found a 3rd man fighting for his life in the 2500 block of 3rd Avenue. Investigators haven't determined if the shootings are all connected. A big day for the families of murdered college students Hannah Graham and Morgan Harrington. Tomorrow, Jesse Matthew Jr. is expected to plead guilty to those murders as part of a plea deal. We will have team coverage of this high-profile case tomorrow here on 8 News.
Coming up on 8 News at 11, some big news from Dancing with the Stars. We'll have that for you in just a moment. Marcy?
A big night for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I'm Marcy Gonzalez in Texas with who else is claiming victory on this Super Tuesday coming up.
And here across Central Virginia, the big story for the remainder of the week, a return to cooler temperatures in Central Virginia. The details are next.
You're watching 8 News at 11 on this Super Tuesday. This is the news where you live.
Don't go looking for that remote. We still have a lot more ahead here on 8 News at 11. The votes are still adding up, but the frontrunners in the race for president are claiming victory. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump hoping to solidify their leads. Their rivals hoping to slow them down. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us live from Texas tonight, the state with the most delegates at stake. Good evening.
Hi there, Carrie. Yeah, the polls are now closed in all but one of the 12 Super Tuesday states. Here in Texas, a loss for Donald Trump. But as you guys have been saying, that has not been the case in almost every other contest. Tonight, declaring victory. ABC News projecting major wins in a majority of states for frontrunners Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
The stakes in this election have never been higher. And the rhetoric we're hearing on the other side has never been lower.
I am a unifier. Once we get all of this finished, I'm going to go after one person. That's Hillary Clinton.
Among the states projected to be taken by Clinton, Texas, the powerhouse state with the most delegates, also giving Ted Cruz a crucial win at home.
So long as the field remains divided, Donald Trump's path to the nomination remains more likely. And that would be a disaster for Republicans.
A home state celebration tonight for Bernie Sanders, too. The projected winner in Vermont saying he is undeterred by Clinton's overall success tonight.
It's not winner take all. By the end of tonight,
we are going to win many hundreds of delegates.
And Senator Marco Rubio vowing to stay in despite not winning any states so far.
I will campaign as long as it takes and wherever it takes to ensure that I am the next president of the United States.
And he and the other candidates are now looking ahead to the next big primaries in Michigan, Ohio, and Florida. Live in Austin, Texas, Marcy Gonzalez, 8 News.
Marcy, thank you. Back here at home, C-SPAN rolled onto VCU's campus today with their big bus, hoping to rally the youth vote. Students say there seems to be a lot of excitement on campus about this presidential election. So, what is it that matters most to millennials?
Environmental issues are a big thing, and then international relations with the Syrian refugees and then just refugees overall.
I think issues with student loans and payments and how expensive tuition is getting.
Stay with 8 News for all of your Vote 2016 coverage ahead of this big presidential election. And when we're not on air, you can find everything you need, including our delegate tracker, on our Election 2016 page at WRIC.com. John?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the weather after a couple of days of mild temperatures. There's a cold front marching through our area tonight. It's swinging across the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee River Valley, and now pushing into the western part of the state as we speak right now. North of the system, it's been a snowy day in the Great Lakes states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and even the northern portions of Indiana and Ohio seeing a little bit of snowy weather. But you see, this is rain coming toward us. Close to home right now. Here are the showers over around the Roanoke area, as you can see, moving their way to the east. They're taking a little bit of time to get here, but they'll be here in the overnight hours and they'll get a little wet over us in Central Virginia. Still pretty warm for us here. 61 degrees outside right now. Still 63 degrees Hanover County Air Park. Tappahannock checking in at 64. Again, tomorrow's high temperature for the day, the official high, will be whatever it is, and just about 40 minutes from right now at the stroke of midnight. In the afternoon, we'll only make it back to around 54 degrees. Rapid clearing tomorrow. Sun comes back in a hurry, but it is going to be breezy with the northwesterly winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. So that's going to be the story as your afternoon temperatures tomorrow will be in low to mid-50s throughout the entire state. 56 degrees for you down in Williamsburg, 58 in Lawrenceville, and back in the lower 50s as you head back to the west towards the Blue Ridge Mountains. So here's the system. It's already off the coastline by the time we get the day going tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And then as we go through the day, sunshine, a breezy day for us. During the afternoon hours, we are going to have the temperatures staying in the middle 50s, and by the time we get into tomorrow evening, clear skies return. Temperatures tumble all the way down into the upper 20s for us. Start off a little bit of sunshine on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m., but here come the clouds coming back in, and by late Thursday, some precipitation is possible for us across the area. Another quick moving storm system. Again, it's on that track that's going to take it down to the south of us here. And with some cold air around, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very marginal situation. There could be a little bit of slushy snow accumulating in a few spots on Friday morning. It's going to be one of those things to be around for a little while. Mainly if it accumulates, it'll be on the lawns, and then it'll get out of here because the sun will come back out. We'll get temperatures up into the lower 40s. That will set you up for a cool start to the weekend. Saturday's only 49 degrees after starting off at 29. And as we head to Sunday, we get warmer, and it's right back into the 70s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
All right, thanks, John. Well, say it ain't so. Derek Hough will not be returning to Dancing with the Stars. The reigning Mirrorball Trophy champion will be sitting out season 22. He won a record 6 times, but he's not done. Hough will be stepping into the dancing shoes of Gene Kelly when he tackles a stage musical of the film Singing in the Rain on Broadway. So that should be a big challenge for him there.
That guy is a good dancer. He's going to carry that show. People are going to see it. But Dancing with the Stars, I predict, will roll on. One dancer doesn't stop that show.
No, it will absolutely.
It's a juggernaut. Totally. All right, let's send it over to Mitch for a look. Oh, no, we're going to go to break and come back with sports. You're watching 8 News at 11.
Welcome back. It's time for the 8th Sport Report. Virginia still has a chance at the ACC regular season championship, but the Hoos have to win, and they have to hope that Miami or North Carolina both lose. Immediately tonight, Malcolm Brogdon proved last week wasn't a fluke. Midway through the game, Brogdon for 3. It's good. 18-10 UVA. Mike Tobey then passes the ball. Brogdon eventually going to get it. He led UVA with 18 points. With under a minute left in the first half, Anthony Gill on the baseline fakes a pass, fakes a shot, and then That's not a fake. That's a huge dunk. Throws it down. UVA up 6 at that point. To start off the second half, though, Jerome Blossom game. He is a great player for Clemson. He led all scorers with 31, including this pretty baseline dunk. Let's let you watch it again. Clemson took the lead. UVA, though, would restore order with 1:28 left on the clock. Anthony Gill tosses down to Devin Hall with a dunk of his own. UVA wins at 64-57. The Richmond Spiders played tonight against Dayton. They had to win tonight in their final home game of the season to remain eligible for the NIT. Last home game means senior night, though. Terry Allen and 3 others ending their careers tonight, but a junior, TJ Klein, stole the show. Dayton had no answer for him. He was good inside. Take him on one side of the basket, he'll go to the other side of the basket. And how about for 3? He can do that too. He had 18 points in the first half alone as Richmond led by 5. Second half, here's a senior, Trey Davis, Benedictine grad, throws down 2 of his 6 points. Richmond built up an 11-point lead. 2 guys spoiled the party for Richmond, though. First, Deshaun, a.k.a. Scoochie Smith. He had 26 points to lead the Flyers, and then Charles Cook knocked down a couple of clutch threes at the end of the game. He put them up 6 to close it out, and Dayton would win this one 85-84, a disappointment for the Spiders on senior night.
We had a great opponent on senior night. We knew this the whole year. We would have loved to send them out, in style. Just another tough game. We lost by 1 tonight, so we think we're very capable of winning the whole tournament, going to the NCAA tournament. None of our our dreams, our aspirations are shot down yet.
That's it for sports. I'm Mitch Carr. Lottery's next.
A few showers overnight, then a return to sunshine tomorrow, up to 56 degrees. A chance of a little light wintry mix on Friday. Cool start to the weekend, a warmer end. We're back in the 70s next week.
That sounds mighty good.
That does sound nice. Thanks for watching 8 News at 11.
That's all the time we have. 8 News continues with Good Morning Richmond at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. Good night.